Hello, so mic test. I guess it's working fine. Hey everyone, this is a quick live stream that I'm doing. I mean, I've never done this. I thought I'll just try it out, explore. At least in this format, I've never done live stream. The reason for this is I just wanted to put some stuff on my channel, and I just wanted to be in a casual format. Didn't want to have to go through the effort of recording the video, editing it, and then putting it up, but there were some things that I wanted to share and put it out there. So I just thought this would be a quick and easy format of doing so. So first thing is been couple of it's been a while since the last video I've put out, and one of the videos that I last published were some tops. Like one was on the topic of SAT, and I think like college prep in general, because I was going through that process myself. And then there was one set of videos that I was doing on an initiative called Launchbase, which I was working on, and I just kind of abruptly stopped that. I didn't really have time to kind of continue that, so I wanted to um, sort of explain like where I am, status wise, how things are going, and then what I'm doing right now, and kind of address those stuff. So first thing is that sort of college prep phase is over. So I heard back from the universities that I applied to, and I found my results. And as you can see, actually right now I'm at one of the libraries in the university that I got admitted to. So I found my decision, and I'm here. This is my first year, first semester, nearly halfway through. So I um, wanted to um, kind of extend that video and talk about some of the other parts of the process after actually hearing from these colleges, what things I learned new from it, and what I would maybe do differently to help other people who are in the application process right now. So first thing is, so after that process, I applied to nearly 15 to 17 universities, and my situation was it was selectively in the United States. I did not apply to any other country. That is one piece of information that I want to let you know. Some other things are my background, my status as like what type of student I am, domestic, international. That will vary from university to university depending on what they define it to be. So some considered me as a domestic student, some considered me as an international student, mainly because I'm a US citizen, but because my high school was outside. uh, it really depends on how you define it. And I studied in an IB school. It was an international school, 11th and 12th grade, last 2 years. I studied IB. I did the diploma program, not just the certificate. I did the diploma. And previously, I was in the Cambridge curriculum, both UK based syllabuses, and very popular throughout the world. And that's what I did. So first thing is, yeah, so I applied with the help of someone else who had more knowledge of this entire college process, and he guided me with the selecting the list of colleges, and with stuff like the essays that I had to write, and just the general guidance throughout the process in general. And with that, of course, you need to kind of gauge like where you stand in terms of like in comparison to other students applying, and you need to craft your list of colleges which are you going to be your tough reach hard reach schools, which ones that you would be reasonably competitive with, and maybe your safety schools. You need to kind of craft that list, and that's one of the hard parts, which I think having someone else, assistant, someone who's familiar with the entire process, especially if you're applying abroad, someone who's familiar with colleges in that area is very important. So that was very helpful. But one thing that I wanted to touch upon is how IB is recognized around the world, because this is something I just kind of assumed that everyone knew what they were talking about. But once I got in, like I mean, immediately once I got the admission letter, and once I talked to some of the people during the application process, like the admissions officers, or when I was calling them up trying to find out information during that process. And even after getting into the university, when I talked to some people, some senior people who were on the admissions committee, or senior people in general who take care of that particular department, I quickly found out that there were some misconceptions about the way people treated. Because one thing I want to kind of touch upon is, if you take the United States, obviously where I applied, um, majority of people go to public schools, and if you go to a private schools, 99% it's IB. And the way it works is IB and AP, they sort of have some kind of comparison. It's definitely not equal. In no means can you say they're basically the same. There's a whole lot of difference, but for most practical purposes, they equate the same. In the sense that if you want to do something higher level, if you want to go beyond what is taught in the class, you can either push yourself with college level courses with AP exams. So you can do AP Calc 1, AP Computer Science, AP, I don't know, you can literally anything you want. There's a whole list of courses that you can choose from. And the other option is you do IB instead of that. So if your school offers that, do IB, or you go to another school and then you do IB over there. So that's how they equate it. But the problem is, internationally, we don't selectively do those courses and say, okay, I want to do a college level course, let me do IB chemistry. That's not how most schools internationally do it. They usually offer that wholesome curriculum. You do the diploma program or the middle years program, you go through that entire program, multiple years of program, and then you write the exam, and then you get your diploma. That's how it's done internationally. And I feel that for for most of the schools that I applied to, almost none of them ever recognized the diploma, in the sense that they got the official results from IB just to verify that I got the grades that I told them I got. But they never considered my extended essay, they never considered my theory of knowledge work, my CAS work, things that are essential to getting the diploma and actually make that program so much more valuable. Because IB, if you ask me, it's in a way much more strenuous. It's if you especially do the diploma program, it's 2 years, intense, fast paced, and it's not just learning the knowledge and then going and writing an exam. You got to do this internal assessment, often that consists of a formally written paper. You go through the entire investigation process and come up with something, and then you have an extended essay, which is very hard. It's basically a formal research paper that you write, and has to be to very high standards. Things that I've done in the extended essay, I can see people learning for the first time in college over here. So none of these things are there in AP. And for that matter, I wouldn't kind of put A levels down, but I still have a higher regard for IB because you have all these other components. And I felt that that was not valued enough in the admissions process. Because if you take students who studied in the US, when they say they did IB chemistry and the IB chemistry that I did, I feel I would not put that on the same level, because it was with this, all these other courses that I did together, and it's just not the same when you kind of compare students together. So that's something I want to let you know, because that's one thing. The other part is, forget about admissions. Once you get into college, they have a credit system over here, and this will differ from country to country. The and the majority of students, they take some kind of cultural courses in the sense, it could be AP, it could be IB, they could literally take a course at a community college, and then they transfer this to the university when they get in, so that they don't have to take the same course again. Now, I did IB math analysis and approaches HL, and I got a 7 in that. And if you can check out the syllabus online, what I've covered, but I still need to take the Calc 1 course over here, which is a prereq for almost everything. So, I mean, in one sense, it's easy for me. So I'm doing it because I've done it already. I've studied for it, I've written the exam, so it's easy. There's nothing much to complain about. But the other thing is, these universities are quite expensive, and you're paying for every course you're doing, for every credit that you need to take, you're paying for it. So taking this course again, which you've literally learned already, if that might be a deal breaker for you. That's something that you need to consider. This is I spoke to someone in the university, a senior person. I don't know if he's actually involved in admissions, but he's very closely involved with things that happen in the engineering department, the school that I got admitted to. And he was telling that, with his conversations with students interested, he said that, he would, I don't know if he, I would say discourage, but he kind of said that, he would let them know, because if you're doing IB, the credits just won't transfer easily. um, so he kind of told students and kind of discouraged them from like, at least gave them the information, because if you're doing IB, let's say you do math analysis and approaches HL like me, it's just not going to transfer appropriately. You're not going to get the credits, and I think that's because the system's just different. Here you have trigonometry separately, Calc 1, then Calc 2, all of these like subjects within math, they're kind of split up. And in IB, it's just one big subject, you learn everything. So I think they're not able to properly assess and convert that to the system they have over here. So that's something else I want to tell you, because of course every university is different. If you go to a different university and if they transfer your credits appropriately, that's amazing. But they didn't do it over here. And so I want to let you know, because if it's over here, it's, there's a very high chance that it happened in other places. And I don't know if I told or not. I'm sorry, I completely forgot. University I got into was George Washington University. It's in Washington D.C. So I'm sorry, I forgot if I didn't tell that earlier. So it's a pretty high chance that you'll have this trouble somewhere else. Another thing is, a lot of universities have placement tests. I took a math placement test. It was called the Alex placement test, ALEKS. Very basic stuff like pre-cal content. If you've done any international schooling outside of US, I'm pretty sure that'll be a piece of cake. Um, like because like I can very easily see the different standard in math. Because if you take IB, for example, let's say you're just not interested in math, you don't have any use for it in the future, the lowest level of math you can take in IB, I still feel you'll be able to do really well on this placement test. So like I feel that's just something to keep in mind. People really don't think about it unless they actually get in and they go through the entire process. So that's what the IB thing that I wanted to tell about, which is something very important. Um, if you're 3 4 years out, something to consider. Maybe you want to do different syllabus, different curriculum, or just want to keep this in mind during the admissions process. Um, wanted to let you know. So that's it. As I said, university I got into was George Washington University. I posted an update on my social media. I just let my friends know where I was going. Um, and one, yeah, so that's that. I got in. It's like I'm halfway through the semester. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, you're free to do so in the comments or reach out to me. My contact information is there. You can just get to know what it's like being over here. And let's see, anything else? Like, I want to talk about one more thing. I'm just seeing if there's anything else I wanted to touch upon. So that was IB. Um, no. And yeah, one thing maybe I could say that might help give you some information is like how it's actually like inside, like while you're doing the semester, how the classes are and that sort of thing, because that again you won't know from the outside. So I'll give you some information about GW, the school I'm in. And I mean, if it's something that you're interested in applying to, feel free to. If you want to apply to different school, maybe you feel this is not something for you, you can. I'm just giving my personal information. I feel um, you might be able to get some insights rather than reading some superficial article you get outside. So overall, I'm pretty happy. GW's um, this campus is like literally in the city. It's a couple of blocks from the White House. And they have another campus called Mount Vernon, which is like 10 15 minutes from here, also in DC, but it's a little bit more further out, kind of into the suburbs. It's more quiet over there. A lot of first years are housed over there. So that's one campus where it's mostly the residential buildings, and you can take the shuttle over here to this campus, and most of your buildings are spread out over here. Campus is very near the metro. DC has a very good metro system, so you can take the train anywhere you want. Maryland and Virginia are, beside you want to go anywhere, there's very good train connectivity. You have the metro bus and other bus systems. And um, I am overall my experience has been pretty positive. I wanted to, I was like quite looking into colleges that have this urban city lifestyle location. So in that way, GW kind of worked out, and it was really good. And overall, I don't have too many negatives. Housing is great, and classes seem to be going fine. Only thing that, as I told you, math, I have to do Calc 1 again. So professor is good, but I have to do it again, and that's one thing. So if you're coming from like a similar background for me, then maybe something that you can consider. Um, Depending on which school you go to, which so you have GW, the university, and then you have different colleges or schools within it. So I wanted to go to do study computer science, so I applied to the engineering school, which is called the School of Engineering and Applied Science, short form SEAS. Um, so your requirements, the way the atmosphere, the way your curriculum is, it depends on which school you go to. That's something I didn't know. If you do your research, maybe you knew that. Anyways, I'm going to tell you that whichever university you apply to, make sure you know what your like what you want to study. See which department or which school you will be applying to, which has that particular program, and then learn more about that particular school, because there's going to be a lot of difference. You take here, my situation, GW, you have the art school, you have the business school. The entire process, the atmosphere is totally different when you go from school to school. The faculty are different, everything's different. So that's something that I didn't realize. And if you're going through the application process, I would like to tell you, so it might give you some better idea. Learn more about that. um, there are some general education requirements, some history, social science, humanity, social science requirements. I'm taking economics, which is interesting. As I said, I did math. I'm doing math and a couple of other introductory courses, which are just going quite slow for the semester. Yeah, but overall, my experience is pretty positive. Just want to share that. You're welcome to let me know if there's anything. And I think I will wrap up that part of the video. Just wanted to give a quick update, some of my thoughts. Hopefully, I'll be able to help anyone else. And now I want to kind of switch gears into something else. I don't think I've actually talked about this on my channel. I'm not sure, but I kind of want to put this out and talk about it finally. I'll definitely create other videos, because this is kind of put, it's deep inside this live stream. I don't know if people actually see it, but I want to talk about it, which is Get Credible. Get Credible is a startup that I'm a part of. You can, if you've seen my LinkedIn profile or other social media, you would have seen that it's a startup that I'm working on, and it's out there. We've launched. It's been a while, and I really want to kind of publicize this, talk to people about it, and get people excited about it, because this is something we are all very passionate about, and we think can actually help people. So let me tell you what it is. Get Credible is Get Credible is a platform that helps you establish professional credibility. So you might ask, what is professional credibility? Why is it important? Why do we even care? So I'll tell you why it's important. In any industry that you go, education, maybe um, the software field, maybe you're a teacher, anywhere, you have these businesses. You as a person, maybe you try to get hired, so you have this education, you have this background, this experience, you try to apply. There's so many other people you're applying with. You're basically competing for this role. Now you have a very hard time to stand out from the crowd and to prove that you are the best person for the job. It's really hard. And on the other hand, the person who's hiring you, they have a hard job sorting through all of these candidates, determining who's actually good. Because the honest thing is, I mean, people like openly say this. They say tailor your resume depending on the job you're going for. I don't agree with this, because if you're like your experience is your experience, your skills, they're there. It doesn't matter which job you're applying for. Let the employer make their decision based on all the skills, education, the experience you have got. Tailoring your resume to an employer, it doesn't make sense to me, but people openly say this, do it. And what's worse is people go beyond this and they fabricate their resumes. They lie in their interviews, and it's an honest problem to solve, because the person on the other end also has a really hard time determining if this person's actually qualified, if they're actually competent to do this job. So there's a lot of friction. People spend a lot of money for this hiring process, and professional credibility is really important. It will help you solve this problem. And even within a job, you have appraisals. Appraisals have never really changed in the last 10, 100 years. It's always been the same. Everyone hates appraisals. It happens once a month, once a year, depending on your organization. Everyone dreads it. It's terrible. It's very inefficient. Doesn't do the job, but they still do it. And we want to kind of change that. We want to kind of reinvent how people are approaching professional credibility, because we feel it's a very important job, very important problem to solve. And if done right, it'll really change the way you perceive all of these issues. So we have come up with an app platform called Get Credible. You can check it out, getcredible.pro. Mobile app is there. We have an Android app. iOS app is coming very soon. So what we do is we allow you to establish professional credibility by creating a digital resume called Slate. And what's different from the normal resume or LinkedIn profile? So first is, yeah, it has all the same content as a normal resume or LinkedIn profile. You can add a profile picture, you can add your name, your description, your location, your education, experience, skills, add all of that usual stuff. But on top of that, we have a system to instantly give people an idea of how good you are, how credible you are, and are you consistent performer or not. How do we do that? So whenever you're working, almost always you're working in a group with other people who are influenced by you. So what we tell you to do is go on to Get Credible, create a project, what you're working on. It'll have a name, give it a name, and invite the people who you work with. It can be your colleagues, it can be a boss, it can be people who work under you, it can be customers, clients, it can be a friend, even anyone who has some sort of influence who can talk about the work that you're doing. So create this project, invite people. These people are your professional ecosystem. Very important. Then what you do is every time something important happens, maybe every week, every couple of days, you complete a major task, a milestone, you post this milestone. You tell them what you've done, you give a description of this, post this milestone. And then what will happen is this will go out to all the people in your ecosystem that you've invited, and they can give their feedback. Honest feedback, just a couple of sentences, at least 2 sentences. It's hardly going to take any time. So they take their time, post this feedback, right? Everyone does it, but the thing is, when they post their feedback, it's totally anonymous. So if I post feedback for my friend, no one else other than myself can read the feedback. So I post my feedback, it's gone, it's in the system. No one can read it. It's totally anonymous and hidden. So doing this, first of all, it helps people be honest. It prevents compelling people to be biased and to favor them or to not favor them. You don't need to worry if someone's going to retaliate. You give a bad feedback, just be honest, post your feedback. It's going to remain totally anonymous. And the so if I post a milestone and if I'm getting feedback from my friends, my peers, my boss, I'm not going to know who posted the feedback, who didn't post, who posted what feedback. I'm not going to know anything. All I will have information of is how many people in my ecosystem posted feedback. So let's say I have 10 people, I know 3 people posted the feedback. That's all I know, right? And what I do is I have so once this feedback starts coming in, either I can wait for everyone to post their feedback, or let's say it's urgent, I need to get this thing ready. What I can do is I can generate my professional credibility rating on demand. So let's say I get 5 out of the 10 people, I got their feedback, right? I can click generate rating, and what it's going to do is use a machine learning algorithm to process all of the feedback, to determine how positive or negative it was, sort out anomalies. So let's say out of the five people who gave feedback, 4 of them were reasonably positive, one was terrible, right? It's got to be an anomaly. So it'll make sure that doesn't affect your score. It's going to exclude that, and then it's going to compute the score based on the rest of them, and it's going to give you your rating. So this number, which we call the Procred rating, will give you an indication of how good the person is performing in addition to the context. So the context of 5 out of 10 people have posted the feedback, and that's what gave you this rating. So first is the total number of people. If you only have 3 people in your professional ecosystem, that's not good. That's going to raise suspicions, because definitely you've got to be working with more than 3 people. And if it's only 3 people, there's a high chance that they could have been favoring you, and your rating is not as credible. The second part is how many people actually gave feedback. Let's say you have 20 people in your ecosystem. That's great. But if only 5 people gave you feedback out of the 20 people, that again raises some doubts. So all of this helps give you more context, much more information to act upon, and it helps people effectively screen how good you are. It helps hiring managers by huge margin. The other thing is, it doesn't happen once, but let's say every week or every month, every time you post your milestone and you get feedback, you get this rating, and you can view this beautiful timeline based view of this graph that we generate for you, of how good you've been performing. So at an instance, you get an idea of how good the person is performing. Is he a consistent performer or not? This is not perfect. This is not going to replace anything. I've talked to people, I've heard some feedback. I want to be very clear. But the thing is, in our current system, there is nothing even close to this. I'm being really honest over here, and I'll try to be as open as possible. There is nothing even close, to what we are trying to solve. And this is very important, because this gives you this is think about it as a helping hand. The problem that I've seen when I talk to a lot of people is, immediately when I like approach them with this solution, they kind of approach it with all these sort of counters, and I used to do that before. But the problem is, there is no like solution. If you think about it, right, there is no solution that like completely solves any given problem. It's always like a helping hand. It helps reduce some of the issues with it and makes your lives better. That's all we're trying to do over here. Is your quality of life, are we trying to make things better than it was before? That's all. It gives you a helping hand. It helps hiring managers screen candidates. If they, instead of publishing your resume, and then giving your LinkedIn profile, and then 3 4 rounds of interviews, if we can reduce some of that. Let's say hiring managers say, okay, just give me your GetReadable link, just one link, right, that has their LinkedIn profile, that has all this other information, all their experience, their skills, everything. And then if they're able to sort of screen candidates and reduce some of their work, their time, by some amount because of this product, that means we've done a good job. Because um, there are a lot of candidates that you just can't judge based on just a paper that they've printed. You can lie how much ever you want. There are people who are cheating through interviews. There is only so much you can do, and there's a lot of time and effort and money spent on this this industry, and we want to alleviate some of the efforts. No one has come up with any sort of solution in this for this problem, and the honest answer is, because it's really hard, we think we have come up with a decent solution. But not only is it uh, reasonably good, the thing is, it's robust. It I feel whatever you throw at it, it'll work. And the problems, like when I go and approach people and talk about this solution that we've come up with, people come up with genuine issues. Yeah, how about this, how about that? Everything that they're saying is correct, but the problem is they assume that this is a complete replacement for something we're doing right now. Can this completely take over uh, appraisals? In fact, yes, I think it can. But can this completely change the way people hire? No, of course not. You will have to conduct interviews. You can't replace that physical interaction between people. It's definitely required, but it'll help them. The reason is, for some popular roles and postings, you might have hundreds or thousands of people applying. There is no way you can effectively sort through that just based on reading someone's resume. It's just not going to work. You're going to go through the interviews, multiple rounds of interviews sometimes, and it's just not efficient at all. And we think that we can make this process much more efficient with this tool. And the other thing is, sort of um, how do I put this? Bring back this emphasis on credibility in many industries, which has like been put to the back seat. No one really cares about it. And as an individual, let's say you're applying for a job, this is going to help you, because if you do this, you can remove some of the concerns that you have, some of the anxiety that you have when applying to a job. Because if you know that you've done the work, you have been consistent, you don't have anything to worry about, because this digital resume, the slate that we help you create, it just speaks for itself. So all you got to do is submit that, maybe go for a couple of rounds of interviews, they're going to verify, and it'll help. It'll genuinely help a lot of people, especially the hardworking people who put in the work. And yeah, we think this is really important. So I want to talk about this. I don't think I've really created any video for this on my channel, so I want to definitely in the coming days, weeks, I want to put out more videos on my channel, start creating awareness. I want to put this out. I don't think I've done anything on my channel specifically. Get Credible has a YouTube channel. Go check that out. Go check out the website. Download our app. I really, we really believe that this is something that's really important, which people can benefit from. You can please reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to know or learn more about it, and if you think someone might benefit from this, share this with them. I just wanted to talk about it, create some awareness. So yeah, I think that's it for this video. If you watched this, thank you. It's been 30 minutes long, random live stream, but you watched it. Thank you for watching. Hope you all have a good day. And yeah, once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.